Holodomor, Stalin's manufactured famine, killed millions of Ukrainians by hunger. The word you hear now more and more this autumn in Ukraine is Holodomor, killed by the cold. Last Monday, the starting gun for a concentrated effort by the Kremlin to knock out Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Since then, a week of missiles and Iranian-supplied drone strikes. Yesterday, for example, the offices of Ukrenergo, a state-owned energy company, hit. This, the power station in Dnipro, central Ukraine, this morning. President Zelenskyy said today that 30% of the power stations in Ukraine have been targeted since the 10th of October, causing widespread blackouts. His deputy described the situation as critical. When we talk about destroyed energy infrastructure, here's what we actually mean. The possibility of homes without heat, of classrooms without light, of hospital wards without electricity. And get this, we've just popped into this superstore here in Kryvyi behind us. Staff there told us that before the war they were selling on average 1 generator every week. Now they're selling 5 a day. Once upon a time, Ukraine and Russia had integrated energy systems, so the Russians can pinpoint sections of key installations to target now. We spoke to a former energy minister in Zelenskyy's administration.
Just before the start of Russia's armed aggression on February 24, we had a single energy system. And I think that Russia's energy engineers know very well the locations of critical infrastructure to give the exact coordinates of where to hit to cause the greatest destruction, making sure the energy system really suffers the consequences of these attacks.
Most of Ukraine's energy is generated by nuclear. At the start of the war, Ukraine was a net exporter of energy, even after the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant was taken by the Russians. But now the country's reserves have all but vanished. Ukraine is on the edge of an energy cliff. People like 9-year-old Artem will really feel the fall. He lives in an apartment in Kyiv, damaged in the fighting. It's already getting cold, he says, so I sleep in my clothes. Everyone in Ukraine will experience this energy crisis in the winter to come. But the people who really feel the cold? Those living in homes where the bombs have blown out the windows. We wanted to bring you another update that we think may be quite significant. In the last hour or so, the Russian-appointed governor of Kherson region has called for the evacuation of the region down in the south of Ukraine. Remember, Kherson is about 70 or 80% occupied by the Russians, and this Russian-appointed governor, just in the last hour or so, has called for the evacuation of residents from one side of the Dnipro River to the other. He says in his statement that the reason this evacuation needs to happen is because the Ukrainians are about to strike a dam on the river, which would make it dangerous for people to live there. That is not the case. The Ukrainians, I should say, won't be doing that. The expectation is that as far as the governor is concerned, this evacuation may be some sort of preamble ahead of a possible Ukrainian advance. Now, of course, one person's evacuation is another person's deportation as far as the residents and Ukrainians are concerned. But this could be a move ahead of a possible, and I stress possible, Ukrainian advance in that part of the country. We're heading down in that direction to the Kherson region tomorrow morning, so should be able to bring you more updates on that tomorrow evening.